Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Loyola School of Theology and the Theological R Committee, I warmly welcome you to the first Theological Hour of the academic year 2024-2025. We are excited to have you join us today. I am Adjunct Frederick C. Mamonta of the Society of St. Paul, and I will be your facilitator for this Theological Hour. To begin this event in the right spirit, I would now like to invite Liber Ramoso of the Ministers of the Infirm to lead us in the opening prayer. Please rise.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, Creator of heaven and earth, you have chosen us to be your people, fashioned in your image, and called us to reflect your goodness in all we do. Help us through your grace to give you glory in our work, our relationships, and our lives. Jesus Christ, Son of God, our Redeemer, you came among us, sharing in our humanity, bringing unity and peace through your sacrifice. Bless this group, Lord, that we may gather in your name and bring many people together in the spirit of your love. Holy Spirit, giver of life and love, fill our hearts with joy, empower us to meet one another with open hearts, and help us gain many blessings from our time together. Guide our conversations, deepen our connections, and let your presence be felt in our midst as we are united in your divine community. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much, Limer, for starting us off with such a heartfelt prayer. Now, before we dive into the heart of today's discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on something we're familiar with, like the digital world. Have you ever noticed how much time we spend online? It's like we've got this entire parallel existence. 1 minute you're catching up on emails, the next thing you know, you're watching cat videos or learning a new recipe on YouTube. But here's the thing. What does all of this mean for our faith? In a world where we live so much of our lives online, how do we share the message of Christ in these digital spaces? How do we balance technology with our humanity? These are the kinds of questions today's topic will explore. To formally introduce our speaker, I would like now to call on Jezreel Landangan as piarist.
Good morning, everyone. Our speaker today is a distinguished educator and scholar in social communication and Catholic education, with wealth of experience teaching in both seminaries and academic institutions. He has dedicated years of service to institutions such as Divine Word Institute of Mission Studies and Divine Word School of Theology in Tagaytay, Mary Hill School of Theology in New Manila, the St. Paul Seminary Foundation in Silang, Cavite, and has also taught at San Veda College, Alabang, Jesus Good Shepherd School in Imus, St. Paul University, Manila, and even here at Loyola School of Theology. His academic journey is just remarkable. He earned his bachelor's theology in 1992 and master's in theology in 1994 from the Catholic Theological Union in Sydney, Australia, followed by a master's in communication in 2010 at Griffin University, Brisbane. He has achieved 2 doctorates, both earned summa cum laude, one in social communication in 2015 from Università Pontificia Salesiana in Rome, and another in educational leadership and management in 2019 from St. Paul University, Manila. A prolific scholar, he has contributed to academic journals, presented at international conferences, and organized numerous webinars and workshops. He has also served as the juror for the Prex Italia and held leadership and roles in the SEAP, Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, and the CBCP Episcopal Commission on Culture. Today, we have the honor of hearing his insights of Katwang Tao, Transhuman Incarnations in Digital Evangelization. Please join me in welcoming Father Norman Melchor R. Peña Jr., SSP, PhD, Doctor of Social Communication.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Doon, good. Dito, better. Dito, best. So I'm happy to be here once again, here in Loyola. What I will actually share is, of course, part of the experiences that I have in terms of communication, in terms of teaching it, living it, and in terms of sharing it with different people. So the topic that was given to me is Katwang Tao, Transhuman Incarnation. It has become, dinagdagan ko yung title, it has become like Transhuman Incarnation kasi yung culture. Yun. Can you hear me? Very good. Kasi you might feel left out. You are always looking here. So I will go there sometimes, okay? So the first questions I will ask actually the one at the back. Okay, so Katwang Tao, Transhuman Incarnation and Digital Evangelizations. And this is, actually, I normally define my terms first when I do. Okay, I define. I don't know if you could read it. Can you read it well? Okay lang. Katwang Tao, it's a Tagalog term, of course. I made it a katwang, kasi you could either put it as katawan, which is the incarnation, my body, embodiment. And then there's another one that you could actually put, it's the letter U, which is katuwang, which means partnership. In the age when our AI becomes more and more incarnated or embodied in our life, of course, there will always be the fear that one day it might take over because it's an embodiment. The katawang, how people normally adjust AI so that it can do many, many things that we human do. But likewise, how it becomes a danger too, that one time that singularity might happen. We will take a note. But for me, at once, I would say it's actually supposed to be an incarnation, but likewise, it's actually also a katuwang, which means partnership. Rather than just taking over our bodies or what we do, the best thing is actually that complementarity, which is partnership. Transhuman culture, what are they? One author was saying, man remaining man but transcending himself by realizing new possibilities. And this is what AI does. It transcends oftentimes human possibilities, not only in terms of information, but in terms of speed. Not only in terms of information overloads, but likewise speed, the fasts. It's actually very fast. New possibilities for the human nature. It's a new kind of existence, we could say, the artificial intelligence. It's actually a dynamic intersection between technology, instruments, cognition, our mind, intellect, and likewise action. So it becomes an interaction between those three. It is technology, cognition, and likewise action. Now, what is digital? And I enclose it already, the AI, because that's what we will discuss today in terms of AI. So what does it mean? It's an attribute of communication period wherein contents originally mechanical oral and written, are digitized or virtualized and transmitted through the internet, computer or electronic networks. That's the basic scientific definition. Before it was mechanical, but they were digitized and virtualized and transmitted through the internet. If you would just see, you would already know how, for example, a picture as big as this of 5 megabytes can be transmitted online wirelessly. How does it do it? Does it, for example, this is a picture, does it send it as a whole? When it is digitized, it means when you put it in a computer or scan it, it breaks it into little dots. Kaya nga meron tayong, that's why we have dots per inch. So this image, if this is an image, before it can even be transmitted to you, it transforms it digitized, which means different dots so that it can fit. Because if you, for example, if this is 5 megabytes or 10 megabytes of picture, it will take time to load it because as a whole. So technology has allowed us that this particular picture, which is like big, can be digitized first. It will actually break it into different dots. And then the receiver, so it's already there, and then wirelessly it can transcend. And then afterwards, when you get it in your cell phones, this cell phone has the capacity to rearrange it again into the original picture. Can you see it? So we will never know, although we do not see it around us already are many digitalized images, talks, or even audio running around, but we cannot see it. But it's true that it's many already are being digitized. Okay, evangelization, what does it mean? I believe it is incarnating the trinomial God who in Christ defined himself as the truth, way, and life. The self-definition of Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life, which is part of the spirituality of us in the society of St. Paul. And then faith and character development, of course there is, and faith learning, and likewise it's supposed to be relational. I start with this. Okay, can we all read? 1, 2, 3. To evangelize the world, it is necessary to evangelize culture. And if it is true that the future of the world depends on the culture, it is also true that the future of culture depends in a great way on mass media. For this reason, it is important to utilize without fear mass media to shape a new culture inspired by faith, forming new people anew. And this is by John Paul II, as quoted by Cardinal Pollard in his book. And it means this signifies as well the need to evangelize the world, but not only saying to the world what it is, pero evangelizing the culture of a particular country or a particular culture. And then mass media, of course, we could say it's even in the development of communication media, on which AI is very much a part. We need actually to do it, to utilize it without fear, so that we could shape a new culture. Not only a culture that is mechanical, but is a culture inspired by faith, forming each of us anew. And that, I believe, is something that for us is very, very inspiring. Okay, I had always liked this. What is artificial in artificial intelligence? What is artificial in artificial intelligence? I always ask this to my theology students as well. Father Lee is here, but I will not ask you, Father. What is artificial in artificial intelligence? Very good. Number 1, it's about silence. This is how I viewed it after having studied or worked in the AI for a while. When you go for an AI like ChatGPT or even Copilot, normally you type your algorithms, isn't it? Then when you type, it gives you an answer from the different texts that are there. But the one who gathered that is actually not you. The one who gave the prompt, yes, you are the one, but the one who gathered the information which is already there, it's actually the AI itself, isn't it? Yes or no? Okay. dito kaya, I never hear you. You're too quiet. You are really... So it's actually the AI itself which gathers it. And then the AI gives it to you quickly, even with sources, 1, 2, 3, even with sources, it will give it to you. But then what happens? Then you will take that AI, oftentimes you will rearrange it in your document or even use it itself. Therefore, I say that the information, therefore, that you put there, is it originally yours or not? No, it is not. If it is not originally yours, therefore, the information is made only by the AI transferred to you. Therefore, the information that you put there is also not yours. Therefore, at the end, who is artificial? The person. Can you see? The person is the one that becomes artificial, not the machine itself, because the machine itself gave you, it gathered it for you. But you use something that is not done by you, therefore, who becomes artificial? Therefore, it's actually us. That is also, many will consider, oh wow, that's therefore a danger. That is therefore a danger for us. But in reality, no, because there is also something that can be good out of it. Next. Ayan. Okay, I noted some elements of that incarnation and culture and digital evangelization, and what could be the characteristics. Okay, what could be the characteristics? The first one that I have put here is Imago Dei, which means the image of God. For example, the digital evangelization or even evangelization itself would always call for a representation of the image of God from you to the others, communicating it. So that's one basic thing. The next one that I would like is Transhumanus Incarnatio. These are all Latin. I got hung out with Latin, so I thought it was very good. Transhumanus Incarnato, which means embodiment. Embodiment. We have that embodiment within each. We have the embodiment within each of us as well. And I believe that is something that is very, for me, something that is actually positive. Next is the Mission Day, the mission of God. It's all included. Now, you would see that all the terms that I'm using for the 1, 2, 3 are actually all theological too, based on the different documents also of the church. Later we will discuss. But evangelization is actually a mission of God. It was interesting that when I came back from Italy, I spent 11 years in Italy, and then 16 years before that in Australia, on how the different cultures have mixed in my head. And then part of that, when I came back in the Philippines, I was teaching there at the Divine Word Institute of Mission Studies. And then one professor there, you would know him, Father Peña. Do you know Father Tony Peña? Of course, Father Lee would, because he studied there too. But what was interesting, Father Peña, he was asking us as students, okay, when did mission start? When did mission start? And most of his students, of course, raised in hand, Father, that's very easy. It's in the Gospel of Matthew or Mark. When Jesus said, okay, go out to the whole world, preach the good news, baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Which gospel is that? Very good. Matthew. It's actually in Matthew as the basis of mission. Then Father Peña noted something interesting, that in reality, it might be from the New Testament, but the mission did not only begin there. Mission actually began, he mentioned, which for me was very interesting, when mission began in the book of Genesis, when God said, let there be light. That mission is communicating to people who God is. God wanting to manifest or to share himself begins already in the book of Genesis. Let there be light. And that's sort of past. And then from the different books of the Bible, we could see actually even that. the mission of God beginning from there. And then, next, it's Technologiam Spiritualisans, Spiritualum Technologisans, which means in English, better in English, technologizing spirituality and spiritualizing technology in terms of AI. This term actually was already mentioned actually by not a Catholic theologian, but actually a Protestant theologian who mentioned this. Spiritualizing technology and technologizing spirituality as the fruit of our AI world or digital. And here we could now say, Procuratio Christiana, it's actually about Christian stewardship. Our use of the AI should always have Procuratio Christiana, Christian stewardship, wherein we are custodians still of creation. We are custodians of creation. Next, we have Ethica Evangelii. Okay. Ethical evangelization. Okay. Ethical evangelization, which means it's about the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. It was interesting when I was doing some research here, even in terms of moral theology, they said that the millennials do not call it now, or even the millennials and the alphas do not already consider right and wrong. It's not about right and wrong now for young people. And what is it? It's actually about right and almost right. Right and almost right. Because if you speak to some young people today, they would never really agree that they are wrong. They are just almost right. Interesting, isn't it? Even in our own. Next, it's about edificatio communitatis, building communities. Our AI should always build communities. It should edify. Edify, even in the Greek, it's oikodomeo. Oikodomeo, which means building the house. Building the house. It should build our communities. Next, it's about realitas virtualis digitalis, virtual reality, in short. That it should be about virtual reality, something that is. Later we will discuss likewise that one. Next, it's symbiosis trinitas, Trinitarian symbiosis. And this is something that I have always believed in. In terms of symbiosis, we always think later on that symbiosis is something that is a bit more positive rather than negative. But as we shall see later on, in terms of the symbiotis trinitatis, in terms of AI, how we depend on AI, that's why there was Wojcicki, there was a Russian who invented, he invented the stages of AI learning. There are three, and he mentioned this, the three categories. Using AI but still do not learn, using AI but learn through AI, and the other one is learning even without AI. The real stages of AI. Actually, yung ganun eh. Where are we? At this stage, in terms of theology students, do you use AI, for example, to learn? Are you already, masasabi natin, too much dependent that you cannot already do anything in terms of theology or even philosophy without AI? Or is your dependence on AI really the key to your performance only? And that is actually part of it. And lastly, this one I like, ab homo technologicus ad homo Dei. And this one, when I was in Italy, that's part of my dissertation. It's actually, which means, this one means from homo technologicus to homo Dei, which actually, this one is the second part. It's supposed to be homo sapiens, homo technologicus, and homo Dei. Our use of the AI is supposed actually to help us to become more homo Dei. How we can actually share that being homo Dei. Okay, next. Imago Dei. Ayan ha. Imago Dei, what do I like to say about Imago Dei? Ayan, human persons are created in the image of God in order to enjoy personal communion with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and with one another in them, and in order to exercise in God's name responsible stewardships later of the world that we are asked. Ito na yon. Image and likeness of God begins actually not only for us to recognize, yes, I am the image and likeness of God. Therefore, we should also think, it's not just what makes you great, it's not just you are in the image. What makes us great as human beings is actually we are asked for responsible stewardship. We are asked for responsible stewardship. And this was taken from the Dicastery Doctrine of the Faith, Declaration Dignitatis Infinita on Human Dignity in 2024, that human persons, later on we would see this in terms of the virtual. What is the reality of the virtual? So Imago Dei, the image of God, just to mention it quickly too. Transhumanus Incarnatio, transhuman incarnation, which is the embodiment. And what did Pope Francis say regarding this? Yan. This one I always like. Please read together. 1, 2, 3. It is not enough to be passers-by on the digital highways, simply connected. Connections need to go into true encounters. We cannot live apart, close in on ourselves. We need to love and to be loved. We need tenderness. And this is actually the transhumanos. This is the embodiment that I believe. It's not just, the digital is not just having you connected with the other. Your phone now is not just to connect you with the other. It's actually supposed to create true encounters. That's why for me, the better evaluation of anything that is digital is very simple. I will follow Pope Francis. My use of this, does it create true encounters, true relationship, or does it destroy it? What you place here, even on your comments, does it create relationship or does it destroy it? My use of the social media, unfortunately, oftentimes even young people mostly focus more, speaking of social media, they focus more on the social rather than on the media. No, reverse. They focus more on the media rather than the social. And I believe that is the danger too. If we focus too much likewise on the media, which is the AI, therefore that relationships cannot. It was, of course, Descartes who mentioned that famous phrase. What's the famous phrase of Descartes? Cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am. And as we all know, that was not the first. Descartes also inserted, before the cogito, he inserted dubito, ergo cogito, cogito ergo sum. It was interesting. Cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am, focused on me. It was Cardinal Ravasi in Rome when we had one seminar. He mentioned something interesting. He changed the word of cogito. Instead of cogito, he put ur. So he mentioned cogitur ergo sum. And it totally changed everything. What does it mean? Instead of saying, I think, therefore I am, it became relational. It became cogitur, which means I am thought of, therefore I exist. Someone thought of me, therefore I exist. My existence does not only depend on me. In terms of theology, I believe that has a great implication. That our greatness, in terms of persons, in terms of our being Christian, is that there is already a being who thought of us. And who is that? God, of course. God thought of us, therefore we actually exist. And this is related here in Transhumanus, the embodiment. Next, Mission Day, the mission of God. Okay, let us see what Saint John Paul said. The Second Vatican Council sought to renew the church life in light of the needs of contemporary world. The Council emphasized the Church's missionary nature, basing it in a dynamic way on the Trinitarian mission itself. The missionary thrust, therefore, belongs to the very nature of our being Christian. To our being Christian. And so it is also inspired behind ecumenism, that they may all be one, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. That is actually the mission. And here we could relate, in a special way, our synodality, which is running on 4 years now. Before I was asked to give a talk on synodality, I was told by that school, Father, give for the parents and the teachers. It was online. I did. So I prepared something like this. And then I was ready already. I said, okay, Father, you can now switch on the camera because it's online. Then I was surprised because you know whom I saw. The one I saw, instead of the parents, whom I saw on my screen are the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-old. And I was preparing something like this. Now, how could you explain that to children? That's synodality. But then I thought again, because in terms of teaching style, what I always, my principle is always, eat what is served. Whoever is in front of you, you should be able to share something if you are a teacher. So I said to the children, okay, I was surprised that you are not the parents that I expected. And then I asked them really, how can I explain synodality to you in a way that you could understand? How can I explain it to you? And then, do you know what synodality is? And they all look at me. Okay, that does not work. Okay, there are 3 particular pillars of synodality. Ano yon? Communion, participation, and mission. So I told them, okay, I will start with that. What do you think communion means? I told the children. And then they answered at once, Father, I know that. And then I said, what's communion? Father, isn't it the round one that you receive in church? The round one. And then I thought to myself, these children are teaching me something that is new in terms of what communion really is. Our communion is always something that we receive. It's not only something that you are the big boss of that communion. Okay, so I thought, this is new learning for me. And then the other one, the other one was about participation. Okay, so I asked, what is participation? Then it took some time. Then one little girl raised, Father, can I try? Yes, please. And then she said, Father, you know what, Father? Yesterday, Father, was my birthday. So we had a party, Father, in our place. Party. It was nice that. I really told myself, I'm really learning something here. Participation is actually, we should supposed to celebrate it. When you participate, you are not only like static, you are actually celebrating. So it's something of a joyous event. Okay, then come mission, which is here. What is mission? I asked them. Then this one took a very long time. What is mission? And then one little boy said to me, Father, I will try. And then he said to me, you know what, Father? My parents are both OFWs, Father. And it's always very happy when they come home. We go to SM, we watch movies, we go to the restaurants, we go to play. It was very nice, Father. And I always appreciate it. But then, Father, it's always sad when they leave. Then I will always remember the good times, Father. And then he said, Father, mission, Father. Mission. Ang galing. So I thought to myself, wow, what does it mean? That mission is actually something that becomes really part of you, that you will miss terribly if you do not actually act on it or do it. And I thought to myself, wow, these are little kids, but they have taught me a unique meaning for communion, participation, and mission, and that we should never discount because they are part of it also. Okay, next. Katawang tao, which means, of course, in terms of mission, is a Christ-centered mission. So that is katawan, Kristo, and then katuwang, which means partner of Christ. So those two. Next, ayan, what is therefore AI? Yan, after AI is a multifaceted computational field enabling computer systems to perform tasks typically associated with human intelligence, seeing, talking, and also language processing. Represents a dynamic intersection of technology and cognition and action with significant implications for digital evangelization. Yan. This is the dictionary definition of actually AI in itself. Which in many ways, ayan see, this is already AI. Even on my computer, it says to me other definitions, automatic. I did not even ask. What is therefore incarnation? It is actually an embodiment. Realization, occupying space, occupying actual or virtual. Experts say that the rise in artificial intelligence will make most people better off in the future, but many, of course, have concerns in how it advances. It will affect what it means to be human, to be productive, and to exercise free will. Again, all these observations are now not new. So, incarnation as an embodiment, the AI as embodying us. Embodying us. It was Pope Gregory who mentioned first on what this digital and all these instruments of communication does to us. Pope Gregory. O sige, please read 1, 2, 3. Here belongs that vile and never sufficiently exaggerated and detestable freedom of the press for the diffusion of all sorts of writings, a freedom which with so much insistence they dare to demand and promote. We are horrified, contemplating what monstrosities of doctrine, or better, what monstrosities of error, are everywhere disseminated in a great multitude, small certainly in size, but enormous in their malice. This is how the church originally thought of communication is, in terms of, and this was in 1832, in Mirari Vos, the document Mirari Vos. So the Pope considered it, even AI, for example, if he was alive, he would consider it the same. AI as monstrosities, many error, fake news, therefore it's monstrosities. But of course, we know that in Vatican II, it already changed. The means of communication, once considered diabolical and irrevocable, instruments of evil are now presented as arms which permit a frontal battle against evil to the point of being providential gift of God for human existence and redemptive activity. So from the evil one, it has become like an activity for actually something that is good. From being looked at as evil to something that is nice. And here, if I could just speak of something here as well, which is, for me, something that is great, is in reality, you know. Do you know Father Amort Gabriel? Do you know Father Amort? The exorcist. The Pope's exorcist. That's the story of Father Amort. He's actually one of our priests, the Society of St. Paul. He's the exorcist of the Vatican. And I have lived with him for many years in Rome. You will see, you will hear at 3 p.m. always, there will always be noise in his office. That's his exorcism time, 3 p.m. And one time, our sisters from the U.S. wanted to interview him, so I brought them to him. And they gave him the question. And the question said, Father, how can we teach our children the reality of the evil one? How can we teach our children the reality of the evil one? And then Father Amort actually looked. Father Amort looked at the question and he said, Suore, questa domanda è sbagliata. Did you understand? Very good. So I will not explain. Then he said, he said, sisters, this question is actually not right. And then the sister said, but Father, it's true. We should actually teach children the reality of the evil one. It's true. And then Father Amort said, very true, sister. But, Father Amort said, before you can even really teach children the reality of the devil, you should actually teach them the reality of what is good. And I believe that is what we are always missing. We seem to focus, even in our AI use sometimes, we focus on the negative rather than on the positive. And he was, do you think he is right? Ano ito? Silence means yes or silence means no? Do you think Father Amort was right? You should teach the children first the reality of what is good? Yes, of course. At yun nga, even in many different places, oftentimes, that's why we focus more. I was teaching some superintendents of Catholic schools, mga priests, different. They were doing doctorate in education. And one priest said, Father, in our diocese, there are 2 exorcists. Very good. Then one priest said again, Father, in us, there are 3 exorcist priests in our diocese. And then another priest said, Father, I can beat them all. In ours, there are 5 exorcist priests. And then one nun said, Father, if in your diocese there are 5 exorcist priests, what does it say of your diocese? There are many devils in that. Pero another one, before I end with Father actually, when Father Amort mentioned that, it came upon me really the real secret of Father Amort, how he is able to exorcise. When Father Amort looks at a person to exorcise, possessed by the devil, Father Amort, and this is upon reflection, which is I believe is true afterwards, I asked him, Father Amort does not see the devil in that person. What Father Amort sees is the good in that person, and that good is what Father Amort wants to get out first, so that it could help him in reality to cast away the devil. Can you see the idea? Instead of looking at that person, the devil, come out, come out. What Father Amort does is totally different. He looks at you, I see the good in you. Come out first, the good. Very different from how oftentimes, maybe it's a style maybe of exorcism, but that was the style of Father Amort. And I believe that's why he succeeds. Because he sees the good. And that good, I believe, will always be part of that mission of ours too. Next, katuwang tao, of course, is the truth way life. Katuwang tao from heaven to katuwang. We should always, there's an awareness of fear, but likewise, there should be a display of trust, the promise of commitment, change for the better, and with AI, of course, there should always be creative dreaming. Yan, ha? On the left is what I would call the wheel. Yan, ha? The Trinitarian wheel of communication in terms of recognizing the truth way life centered of Christ, information, communication, and then social relation. And for me, what was most intriguing here is most of the communication of at least ours is based normally on information and communication. In terms of our AI use, oftentimes it is this information and communication only that we actually focus on, which is the truth and the way, the mind and the will. We leave out oftentimes the social connection. And from here, I understood Pope Francis. He says, connections, building. Our use, again, of AI, does it build connections? Or is it only information and communication? I think in digital evangelization, the end point is not that you got information, you got the communication. The end point of any evangelization is to go to the heart, create that social relation with the people you evangelize. And in a sense, that you should be open to, that you will learn something from that. That for me, that's why this will for me becomes an important part of katawang tao. Next, transhumanism, it was actually Julian Huxley, New Battles for New Wine. This was invented in 1957. Evolutionary fullest realization of man's possibilities, whether by individual or by community or by species. What does it mean? Augment human capacities and improve human conditions, such as aging, through the use of emerging technologies. This is AI in itself. Encompass various fields, including genetic engineering, psychronics, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology. When we speak of AI, it's not only the one of GPT and all that. Hindi. AI is also included in genetic engineering, cryonics, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology, which is good for health in terms of sickness. So it's not just what we use normally, even as in schools. It's like those Chat GPT, Gemini, and Copilot. But they are not the only one. They are just part of the bigger picture, which helps us to recognize more possibilities. What all this will do in the future, as foreseen in 1999 and 2005, is actually a singularity. That the AI and us actually become one. It's not something to be feared, but it's something actually that we should also learn how to actually manage itself. 1999, Kurzweil predicted that machines will not only overtake human intelligence, but will appear to develop free will and have emotional and spiritual experiences. I do not think this will not happen. I think this actually will happen. To have emotional and spiritual experiences. So how do we do that? Singularity is near. Again, Kurzweil, 2005, expanded the theory to predict the impending singularity in 2045. How old will you be? He said 2045, human intelligence will merge with artificial intelligence, like my picture at the beginning. And all disease, aging, social ills, and death will be reversed. Isn't that nice? We will not get old anymore. Isn't that nice? Resolved or eliminated. All diseases will be eliminated. That's nice, isn't it? But will that be still you? Okay, so what does AI do in terms of singularity? It will actually extend human life. It will reverse aging, enhance human capacities, multiple consciousness, and digital immortality. Promising, isn't it? This is what also Adam and Eve liked before. They will, the immortality, that they would never die, that they would. But, okay, in terms of this, okay, I will just go through. It's also used, of course, in teaching, personalized experiences, address current technology. There is limitations, of course. And then afterwards, insights into the student performance and engagement, like yours. It's actually something that is good. And ito naman, they say that as of now, the limitation of artificial intelligence is, number one, emotional intelligence. It cannot cry yet. It cannot cry. Maybe it can laugh because there's already. But in terms of crying, it cannot yet. So, students' intellectual and difficulty recognizing emotional nuances, what is happening, feelings, teaching machines. And then what else? Bias and fairness in issues. Yeah, it will always see because it gets something from a source, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what you get is actually true. So you should be able to analyze it too. Next. Okay, creativity and critical thinking. Limitation. It does not allow you to be creative and critical in your thinking. It doesn't allow you to make analysis. It analyzes for you. There was one student I'm guiding now in the thesis. Her thesis was ChatGPT for home, evaluating ChatGPT in the use of ChatGPT to improve the writing skills of students at a particular school. And then I was telling her, maybe that is actually good, writing skills. But ChatGPT and the rest, does it really help you to write? Or does it give you already the answers? Most of the AI normally will give you, it depends on what you prompt. For example, give me 10 topics, for example, for a course in evangelization. It will actually give you. It will give you. That one, it gives you, or write an essay on the biblical history of the story of Ruth. It will actually give you. So I question that thesis that will be made. AI, does it really help you to write, or does it do the writing for you? Those are different. Is ChatGPT the best tool in terms of writing skills, or Grammarly would be better? So I thought to myself, that is actually unaligned. In terms of thesis, conflict na yung dalawa. ChatGPT, in reality, hindi naman it does not help you write. Pero ChatGPT will give you the answer, correct answer in correct grammar. If you bring it to ChatGPT, your essay, put it there. What will ChatGPT do? It will not put red marks. This is past tense. It's supposed to be not past tense. This is singular, plural. It will not. What it will do, it will give you another set of document based on your document. But it will never correct your tenses. Your verbs might be different there already too. Can you see? So those are nice, but in terms of you learning how to write, it doesn't match. That's also a danger. You do not learn much how to write if you allow it just to give you the answer, the correct grammar. Can you see the danger? And that is actually a big danger too. Yan, that AI could actually, overcoming the limits, oversights, actually these are many. Anyway, in terms of this, AI is supposed to, like this, part of the social media. That AI is also supposed to become part of our general outlook in terms of Christ. It's actually about creating relationships. This is actually, I found this when I was doing my doctoral thesis before, the social network of Jesus. The social network of Jesus. Jesus is there, these are his 12 apostles, and letter N is, of course, the other followers. Ayan. Ganda, no? That it's all about creating relationships. So creating a relationship is not only done or was invented not only during this time, but also during the time even before. Because it's about creating relationships. Next, spiritualizing technology, and this is what Pope Francis said, the development of artificial intelligence and machine has the potential to contribute in a positive way to the future. AI should be there. There is a constant, consistent commitment of the part of those developing. We cannot allow algorithms to limit or condition respect for human dignity or exclude compassion, mercy, forgiveness. Above all, that people are able to change. And that is what? Technologizing spirituality, spiritualizing technology. It is good, it can help. But we should also allow it to align with what is good, with what is human. Ayan, spiritualizing technology. As human beings, we must commit to leveraging AI tools in our lives. We still need to adopt tried and true human experience in the new AI era. I included the next ones here, but I actually, do you know what this one is? Have you ever seen this picture? Yan. This picture, of course, represents the history of the internet. It represents the history of the internet. First, there was the centralized communication in America. 1957, Russia launched a satellite. Americans became frightened because it might bomb the centralized communication system. So they said, this centralized system is actually not good. So what did they do? They separated. Instead of centralized, they established communication centers in different universities in America, which was very good. The only difficulty here, of course, the only difficulty here, of course, is that when this one, sorry, I'm missing my mouse. Where is it now? There. When this one wants to send a message on top here, I can see it. But if this one is actually destroyed, wait, where is my, here, my pen. If this one is destroyed, ayan, I can see. If this one is destroyed, will the message arrive from the bottom to the top? No. Therefore, this model is not good yet. So what America did was just to connect the dots. So if this one wants to send a message here, but if this one is destroyed, will the message arrive on top? How? It will go another way, isn't it? And this one became what is known now as the World Wide Web. This is now the history of the World Wide Web. Okay, that's 1957, America, Fear and Promise. Okay, and this is Tim Berners-Lee, the one who invented the World Wide Web. This is Tim Berners-Lee, the one who invented it. So this one was the history, Google in 1998. Google in 1998, Wikipedia 2000, Facebook 2004, 2006, TV Online 2010. The history. Before, internet was not called internet. It was called Milnet. And why? Because it is always used before only for the military. It's not for research even. Only later on that it became internet. Okay. AI, of course, from the structured identity to non-structured identity, participants and all has been already changed. The concept has changed from members, synchronized, unstable, belonging. So it became non-structured, fluid. Even our identity in Facebook oftentimes are fluid. I can change my name. Someone can get my name. Someone can hack my identity. That is also true. So we live now in a non-structured virtual identities. Oral society, plural and all that, fluid. This is the history of actually the social media in itself. It started not during the Facebook time, but actually during the time even before the Common Era, because people communicated already. Maybe the instruments are new, but the idea of social networking, communicating is already there, even before. Procuratio, this one is just Christian stewardship. I mentioned something on this one already. Ayan. I believe part of this too is something that is nice when the Pope mentioned about the stories, AI and stories. What I believe AI could not do is to have its own story. And for us, I get better use of AI is always supposed to link with our own life story. Making our life a story, being part of God's story, and growing actually through a sharing of that story. And Pope mentions many of these, many constructive stories, cultural fabric, we find destructive stories. And this is actually very true. But there are stories which can transcend the confines of time and space. And I think this is what AI can help us in also. The stories of people who have been influential, AI could easily do that. I could even say, give me who are the most influential people in history in the foundation of, for example, the people of Babylon. And it will actually give me. And those stories are actually very good because some of them transcend the confines of time. So even in AI use, what is most important is actually what question, what prompt do you put? What prompt do you put? And we should be specific. We should be specific. One time, one student was doing, Father, I got this from AI. The question that I asked is, actually, I want a thesis on the media ethics. Then it gave me. And then, Father, it seems it's not good. How can we do it nicely? The one that you could do is actually, okay, give a good thesis for an undergraduate student on media ethics for medical students in Dasmariñas Hospital. Be specific. AI would always give an answer. But if the more you specify, the more better it is. Even in evangelization, you can actually write there. How do we evangelize the people from Western Australia, knowing their history and culture? It will actually give you. Those things are actually very nice that you could actually get into as well. So in terms of this, I will now just go. Ayan, ethicals, we would know. This one is something that also is interesting. I asked this to a number of students already. I think do you remember this picture? What seems to be wrong in the picture? What is not right in the picture? If we could, actually I could put this in AI and then I will ask the AI, for example, what is not right in this picture? What do you think the AI would say? Very good. It will actually remain silent. It will actually not answer me actually, but it would give me an answer written. What is wrong? It's the rich, it's the poor feeding the rich, isn't it? Which is very true. Ethically, that is actually true. But one thing is interesting too, when I first saw this, there is also an inscription at the bottom. This one, the AI could not actually read. The inscription at the bottom says that the rich person's mindset is that of a 3-year-old, not 3-year-old, a 3-month-old baby. A 3-month-old baby. The mindset, which means the thinking of this rich one is like a 3-month-old baby. Knowing that premise, is the picture wrong still? Ano yun? Silence means yes again. Knowing that having that premise, that the mindset, the thinking of the big fellow, or the rich nation here, is that of a 3-month-old, is the picture still wrong? Why is it not wrong? Ethics, it's ethics. Why is it not wrong now? Allah. Ayun, because there is a deficiency that he cannot feed himself. Therefore, the poor man, through his good heart, fed him. And it's actually not wrong. If this is totally wrong at once, when you say it, it means that if the rich nation is the only one that can feed the poor people, the poor man would always say, I don't need to work. There are rich people who will feed me anyway. If that is. So it's all about really the premises at the bottom. That one oftentimes AI cannot do, but you could. Although you were silent a while, but I think you can also do that. Okay, there are things that AI can do, that there are things that AI could not do. Part of this is seeing something of here. I still have many slides, but I will actually go to the end, or else someone might kick me out. No? I will go to the end. Ito lang sa homo edificaciones. Not there. Hold on. Discard. Okay, I will go here. No. Here. Here's another one. Just to go here. Ayan. Ito lang, I will end with what is actually virtual. What is virtual? Ano nga ba ang virtual? And virtual for me, what is the root word for the word virtual? What is the etymology? The root word. Which is? Actually, it's vir. Okay, what does vir means? Man, therefore. Okay, huh? So, virtual normally, but now, virtual, we normally say that the virtual is actually the second life and all that. The virtual, that's virtual. The digital, so it's the second life, not true, digital, okay? The digital. But if you would look at what the virtual etymology really sound is for, it's actually man. Therefore, virtual things is supposed to be, if we speak etymologically, it's supposed to allow us to see and to point out to us what it is supposed to be human, our true humanness. And that is also our true humanness. So virtual is not necessarily something that is bad at once, out of this world, but the virtual, etymologically speaking, if vir, it should allow us to point to what it is to be truly human, how we can be truly human. And that is, for me, most important. That is, for me, most important, that it points out to us what it is. It points out to us what is truly human. Okay, ayan, I explained it here already too. And then, it is actually here, and with here also I will end. Human perfection in terms of AI use, be therefore perfect, Matthew, but hard to achieve. Because it is impossible for human beings to achieve, since we cannot be possibly without flaw. Instead, the Hebrew word tam does not carry the word without flaw, as does the term perfect. So, it means complete or mature or healthy. The meaning of mature, sige, please read 1, 2, 3, and I will end. The meaning of mature dominates most used equivalent Greek or New Testament telos. Something or someone can be complete or mature, yet not be without flaw. In fact, it is much easier to be mature and still have flaws than it is to be without error or without flaw. Many people are mature, but few, if any, are without flaw. Our AI use, of course, would seem to declare always that it is without flaw. But again, some of us actually are encouraged. As I began at the beginning of the session 2, our use of AI should not discount our own originality. That we are still, masasabi natin, better than AI. There might be a singularity, but that singularity should always be a complementarity, as John Paul would always say. That we are, in terms of our digital evangelization, in terms of our culture, yes, we have an AI culture now, but that does not mean that we will be like the AI. It's supposed to be a partnership that should actually be prevailing in us. And in that, we will try to see this last slide, which for me is very important in terms of our AI use. Yan. O sige, please read. With which you master your tools, you can invest the world with your meaning. The degree with which you are mastered by your tools, the shape of the tools determine your own image. That is actually, if we let the degree with which we master our tools, that we know how to use this, we know how to use AI well, therefore, we can actually grow as a person, because that's our message. But the degree with which we are mastered by our tools, that the tools or the AI becomes our master, then even our self-identity, the shape of the tools, will be our identity. Which means, if that shape of the tools becomes our identity, we disappear. We disappear. So the choice is really still up to us. The choice is really still up to us. And in here, we could say, at the end of it all, at the end of it all, we could actually ask even these questions for us. Yan. Have you mastered the use of AI or has it mastered you? Are you God's secret of success or remain only His secret? Describe how I become God's artificial out. In reality, this is also one of my claims, that in reality, we should all become God's authentic artificial intelligence. That through our actions, through the truth about our lives, we become God's truth as well. We show God's truth. And if you are to make guidelines on the use of AI for this school or wherever you are, or your congregation, what would they contain based on the philosophy and core values of your school? So with that, I would like to end now. I hope that I have shared something that is AI-like, something that is true. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Father Norman, for that deeply insightful presentation. We will now open the floor for a Q&A session. If you have any questions, please feel free to approach the microphones prepared here in the aisle and ask your question directly. We'll do our best to address as many questions as time allows. Thank you. Any questions, brothers, sisters? You may not be able to fall asleep later if you will not ask. In a twist of events, Father will be the one to ask us something.
Okay, very simple. And in terms of, siguro, I mentioned to you about yung goodness and all that. Ayun, can you please take a look at the faces of each one? Of your neighbor. Ayan na. Okay. Okay, very good. Can you please tell me what is good about that face? What is good about that face? What is nice about that face? Okay, I will ask first the people here. Okay, what is good about his face? What is nice about his face?
He can smile, and I'm happy for that.
He can smile. What is good about his face?
He wants me to be careful. When I see at his face, I see that he's someone expecting good things. So, yeah, goodness.
You can see the goodness. Okay, thank you very much. Now I will go to the back. Okay, I will ask now the ladies. The two of you, what is good about the face of the other one?
The cheek can express a smile, to put serious face, and well, yeah, expression.
Okay, you?
the peace and the joy that she transmits.
You can see the peace and the transmission of the peace. Okay, that is actually. Thank you very much. Now I will go to the other side, the left or the right. I will go here. Okay, I will change the question. Okay, my question is, can you again look at the face of each other and tell me, what would you recommend to make that face more beautiful or handsome? Dito tayo. I will go here at the back first. What would you recommend to make that face more beautiful or handsome? Oh, the two of you.
I think he's already perfect as he is. Perfectly round.
I think it's already. Yeah. I think it's already perfect as it is.
Safe answer, no? Safe answer. Okay, now next, I will go here. O sige, dalawa kayo, the two of you. What would you recommend to make the face more handsome?
Shave his beard. Beard.
Beard. Shave the beard. Daw.
I want you to pray more.
Now, anyway, why did I ask the question? This is like an AI question. Why did I ask it? I will not normally ask without any purpose. Between the two questions, which is easier to answer? Why? Well, the first one is normally, isn't it? If that is really the case, that this one is easier to answer, why many more people oftentimes when they look at each other or communicate with each other, they rather focus on the second question. I have never found an answer yet to that. Maybe should ask that to AI. Why, if this is easier to answer, many more people choose to look at the person with that question? Isn't it interesting? And that, like the other question that I have there is, for persons to answer the second question, what do the two of them need to have? To be able to answer the second question, what do two people need to have? They need to have relationships. Relationships. And I think that is also what we should always do with even AI. As Pope Francis will always mention, we are there not just to connect. You are not there just to be beside the other one. You are actually there to connect and to make relationships. And in that relationships, that all of you will actually grow. That's really the purpose. If this talk is for anything else, it's just to recognize that reality. AI is there. We could never actually bring it back, hold it back. But just remember, therefore, we should bring it forward. What we should always do with AI is how does it help me create relationship? How my use of the AI allow me in my ministry and mission to create relationships that wherein I can grow and wherein the other can actually grow. Thank you very much.
So thank you once again, Father Norman, for your enlightening presentation and thought-provoking question and answer portion. Now, to formally express our gratitude, I will not like to call on Brother James Santos, SJ, LST Student Council President, and Sister Maria Rachel Curayang of the RVM, Vice President of the LST Student Council, to join us on stage for the awarding of the Certificate of Appreciation. Allow me to read the citation. Loyola School of Theology, Ateneo de Manila University, Quezon City, Philippines. Theological R Committee. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Father Norman Melchor R. Peña Jr., SSP, PhD, Doctor of Social Communication, for sharing his expertise on the topic, Katuwang Tao, Transhuman Incarnations in Digital Evangelization, during the Theological R held on October 2, 2024 at the Jaime Cardinal Sin Center, Loyola School of Theology. Signed by yours truly, Anjan Frederick C. Mamonta, SSP, Theological R Committee Head, James Santos, SJ, LST Student Council President, and Father Eric Eusebio Jr., SJ, Loyola School of Theology President. So to formally end today's Theological R,